All right, before we get started on making the ornaments that I make, I like them to be more see-through. And so what I did is I have a whole bunch of yarns, and I want you to look at these crazy amounts of yarns. Many of these, except for maybe this big old cone of yarn right there, came from junk stores. This, I have had it for 1,000 years, maybe not that long, but it seems like it is. My mother and I, when I was young, used to make jewelry using this. She would crochet it and make. So I had some of this in the gold. Now you can still buy it. I've seen it at Hobby Lobby. I've seen it on the auction site. So you can always buy it, or just find something else, gold, silver, whatever color you want. But this ball here, which I think is quite beautiful, is 3 colors mixed together. So if we pull this out so that you can see what I'm talking about, it is 3 threads put together, okay? And what it is the gold, the white, and the multicolored. And I'm going to tell you, this is just about, I mean, I don't think it's a very thin thread. So you could probably use just about any kind of variegated thread that you have, or a solid color thread. So that particular ball was these 3 colors right here. The blue one was a little bit harder yarn. Sorry, I had it sitting over in the other side of the room. But it was another big skein that I had bought. And I blend a lot of times. And this is a nylon. And it was a little bit difficult. Not difficult to use. It is shredded more. But I wasn't going to use it. So I took this yarn, the gold, and that particular one. And I made this. So you see, you can see through it. Now, if you would like, you can fill the insides with something. Say you wanted to you could fill it with whatever you wanted. Some of the shiny garlands, some tint, anything. If you wanted something even a little bit more shiny. But so this one is that, and then I made the bow, which I will show how to do. This particular one is red. And, oops, is that the one? Yeah. This one has a little silver thread running through it. And instead of the gold, I used the silver, which is over in the other side. All right. Then the green one, come here, Mr. Green, is 3 colors. is 3 again. I used the variegated, which this came from... this is just like as you can see, it is just basically embroidery, not embroidery, old knitting type cotton, just like these are. At least, like I said, my mama she did a lot of that kind of crocheting. And then I used some more. So that doesn't even look like the same color. And then I used the gold thread. But when you mix it all together, it makes a beautiful little ornament. And I'll show you how to do this also. But it makes a pretty little ornament. But I like the thinner ones. I have done one thicker one, but I just liked more of the see-through, because what I do is I can hang it up next to the light on the Christmas tree, and you can see through it. So, all right, so let's go make one. I think that we will make a red one like this. So I will be using the red, and I think I used the silver and then the silver cording, and we will go in there and make that. Okay, so let's get started making a Christmas ball. I'm using the 3 thin yarns that I talked about earlier. This is a regular white crochet yarn, a silver, and a red crochet yarn. All right. One of the big things is when you get started with this is that you do not want to do it tightly because it is a cotton and there is no give. So if you're used to putting a weight, which I am used to putting a little bit heavier weight on the end of this, but I'm going to just, since I want these to kind of stay together, I'm going to use one of these little plastic, non-weighted, almost like nothing type, just to keep it held down, okay? And I'm going to do my usual check on again. Be careful if you feel like you're getting it too tight. I'm doing this very slowly because I don't want it to be tight. The thread, again, has little to no give, and you don't want it to be any, so I'm taking even more time. Usually I would already be all the way around and not even be worrying about it. But since this yarn has no give, you really want to keep it. And if you see how, you're going to remember you're going to pull that up. I'm trying to keep my yarn from being too pulley also. All right, so I'm back to my original black needle. Now, open up the yarn and feed, and I'm going to put this, and I like putting it in that top, in the top hole. All right, so that row doesn't count, so I'm going to do my row counter to 0. And so let's see how well, because you see how easy it's doing. Well, believe you me, if you have it where it's tight, it will not do that. Okay, so all we want to do now is just do 14 rows, okay? That's all we need to do is do 14 rows. All right, so I'll come back with you when I get to my close to 14 rows and take it off. I mean, it's no need of you watching me crank this thing out for 14 rows. Okay, so I stopped right here. I'm fixing this. I just did my 14th row. And I'm going to basically go forward with that. I'll go ahead and cut my yarn, which is right here. Kind of get it out of the way. Get my needle all. Do you know that this is, to me, the hardest part, and it's an easy part, but I don't know if it's because my mind refuses to listen to it or whatever, but taking it off of this machine seems to me like it's always the hardest part for me, which I know is stupid, but it is. All right, so let's go all the way around. Don't protest, dear one. All right, I always put my finger on that one because I'm notorious about pulling it up too much. So I always put my finger on that one because I'm known to pull it off too much. Okay, get out of there. Told you I was always, seems like I can't get this done. All right, so just take it off your normal way. I'm also standing. I'm usually not standing when I do this, but so I can watch the camera and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Instead of being crazy acting, I'm standing. Okay. And all I'm going to do is finish taking it up, and then we're going to go into the other room, and I will, see, I told you, I get carried away and I end up pulling one off, so I have to watch it. Go into the other room, and we're going to put it together. All right, I'll see you when we get ready to put it together. Okay, we're back and we're ready to put it together. When I originally done the original balls, which are all these, I used the plastic balls that I got from Dollar Tree, 2 for $1, and they did fine. When I was looking through my Christmas stuff and putting stuff out, I found about 4 containers of the glass ones, which are the same size. And since I had gotten these on sale some way, shape, or the other, and I'm sure they came from Hobby Lobby, I just decided I don't need to go buy anything else since I had basically 2 dozen of those. And so I figured I'd just go ahead and use the glass ones. The plastic ones work fine. These are a little bit nicer than the Dollar Tree ones, but it's, you know, again, The plastic ones work fine. I mean, this is a plastic one. The major thing I noticed with some of the Dollar Tree ones, please look when you buy them that these top things are correct, because one of my hand was a little messed up. So anyway, so the first thing I do is I just go ahead and take that center thing out. All right. And I am going to basically slightly draw up what I just did on my needle. All right. I like to just kind of fit it around the top first to see exactly how it's going to go, and just pull. Okay, if you see a piece that's kind of not going the way you want it, then just kind of pull it and see, there you go, because you do have 3 yarns and they can sometimes not be the way you want them to be. Spread it out a little bit. Okay, and there you go. It's basically around the top. All right, now since I know this works and it's going to work anyway, I just go ahead and line through, but make sure it's tight. But if you're worried about the size of your ball, or if your yarn has got enough, go ahead and draw up this bottom one, because you can see if it's going to pull and do what you wanted it to do. So let's pull up. Now this was my cast on, so let's pull it up. Okay, you see I'm just kind of slowly pulling it together. Slowly pulling together. Okay, looky. It's going to fit fine, and that looks fine, and it's going to fit. All right. Now, the only thing we have left to do is to basically go around it and around it. And so that's what I do, is go around it. So I just go up underneath, go through each one of the loops, or basically as I just file it through the loops and pull as I go around. Pull as I go around. Okay. And again, I just keep feeding it around. I'm sure it's probably already the way it needs to be, but I just pull it. Now, if by some reason you see that some of these look a little loose, again, all you have to do is when this, of course, you're probably not even going to be able to tell it once you put the thing on it, so I don't. All right, when I get kind of where I feel like I'm okay, I cross over to the other side, like so, okay, and basically tie a knot. Just like that. I go in and out a couple of times, and I basically just tie a knot right there on the edge. Okay, where it's nice and tight. All right. Cut it. Push that knot down in there. Go on either side and put my end back in if you don't mash it like I just did. There we go. And there it is, all in there. If by any chance, again, you have something that you don't like, say you feel like that's sticking up more. I bent it when I put my fingers in it, by the way. But if you do, just take some of the white glue and just go around the top, and it'll put all those, but believe you me, that looks fine. And I'm sitting here doing it. Now, I do the bottom the same way. I take that and I go around it just like I did on the other. I don't usually cross across it. That's just me. I know a lot of people do, and they just get it done real fast, and it doesn't seem to bother them. And I know I'm going to cover this up with either a bow or something else. So again, just go across it and go across. And these lines are too long, and they're causing me grief. So that's when I can't stand it anymore, and I cut it off. And I just go around. All right. And now I'm going to leave that, because that's where I'm going to put my tassel. Or if I so want to, I can glue a bow on it. If I'd rather have a bow, I can always just glue a bow on it. Okay, let me lift this up a little bit. Or if I'd rather glue a bow on it, I can glue a bow on it, just like so. All right, now let's get the bow and let's get the tassel made. So as we're starting to actually decorate our Christmas tree ball, this is one that I've already done. I've done it in a couple of ways, but right now I was just going to show you a couple of tricks as far as first to make a bow. Now this was a handmade bow. I've been making bows a long time, but this one is using the trick that I'm fixing to show you, and it would look very good. You can make it as big as you'd like. If you wanted to. I mean, these little bows can go on a lot of different things. I mean, the bottom of that can also go on something like your decorations for your actual needlepoint or whatever kind of other little ornaments that you have. So I was just going to show you a very simple method. Now this is a meat fork. This is a regular fork. And I'm going to be using a meat fork to kind of show you how we're going to make this. I usually use a thin ribbon. Now this is a pretty red grosgrain ribbon, and it is more than likely, looks like it's about 3/8 of an inch grosgrain ribbon. So let's use it. I also have some thin grosgrain, which you can use the same size, but it makes it much easier if you use a smaller one. So I'm going to take my meat fork, and I think this measures about 1.5 inches across. And I'm going to take a small piece of the thin grosgrain, and I'm just going to kind of cut it here. And I'm going to put it right here in the center of the fork, just like so. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this to actually use the fork. So let me get this all undone here. And we're going to take the grosgrain, and I like to start a good little ways over here because you can always cut that little piece off. And I am just going to go in and I'm going to whip around each one of these. I'm going to go in and go out the center one just like that continually, okay? So that I'm doing and making some things. So I have 3 over there. And I'm going to come back and go and do 3 just like that over there and cut my ribbon. Now, again, I want to let you know that it's much harder to try to do this on camera than it is to do it all off camera. It's very easy. And I'm going to smush it down. I'm going to take my little bitty ribbon that I have already at the end, and I'm going to pull it through the center, flip it off. Let me get this ribbon out of the way. And I'm going to tie this. Okay. You see how I'm doing it, and I'm tying it. Okay. It's not probably as tight as it can be, but to get it started, we're going to tie it just like that. Okay. And now we'll pull it off. Okay. Now, separate your ribbons, just like so. Okay. I usually wrap it around one more time and tie it fairly tight. And the more you do, the better you get at it. Okay, I want to separate these, make sure these loops are separated before I tie it too tight. And then I got it separated, and I'm going to tie it tight again. Okay, 1 and 2. All right, now, there you go. You have a nice little ribbon that's about 1.5 inches. And this can go on a lot of different little things. Let's measure it to make sure. I'm pretty sure it's about 1.5 inches. A little over 1.5 inches. Can you see it there? About, okay, maybe 1 3/4 inches. But there's your little ribbon, and you have got it tied. Now this can go on the bottom, and again, you can separate this as much as you like. Say you don't like, or maybe you're like, oh, these aren't staying apart like I want them to stay apart. I want them to be a little bit more. Then just get some white glue. Okay, now this came from the dollar store, and just take and put one, just put some, after you've got it spread apart the way you want it, just put some glue right around the edges on both sides and leave it alone and let it dry. So here's a small one, because these are very hard to do. If you have something that's just really small ribbon, you need a really small one, use your small fork. I mean, it works the same way. But if you do that, so all you have to do then is take it, and you can come over here. Now I'm going to put it on this because it doesn't have a ribbon. And you see, I used the very smallest little bitty satin ribbon. And now I'll just take it and tie it on the back of my, tie it on my ornament. Just like so. Just like so. All right. And there you go. So those are easy to make. All right. And again, on our Christmas ball that we're finishing up, all you have to do is do it. Let's take this one. I know that ribbon may not go with this particular ball, but you can take that. And I usually put white glue first, or some E6000 on it. Then I'll take a hot glue gun, put one dot on it so that it will stay on it just like so. And that way you have this beautiful little bow that we've made with a meat fork. Let's make the tassel that I am using on the ends of my ornaments. All right, so I took a styrofoam plate. You know what a styrofoam plate looks like. And I basically cut it 2 inches. Then I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to make a little notch in both ends, like so. All right, I'm going to take my thickest, which in this case I'm going to do the blue. And I'm just going to cut me a nice size little piece, probably about 18 inches long. It doesn't really have to be that long, but we're going to make it that long because we'll use that part to wrap around the top of our thing. And I'm going to stick it in both ends, just like so. Okay. Now, my other colors, which is the variegated, the gold, and the blue. And there's the gold. There's the variegated, and I'm going to pick all of them up just like so. And here's the blue. They're thin and they run away from you. All right. And I'm just going to show you, I'm going to make this tassel just like so. So I've got my 3 ends together, and I'm just going to basically start up here at the top. Let it hang over because it really doesn't matter. The hardest part is going to be keeping that one thing out of the way while you wrap it 10 times. But let me go over here to this side and I will wrap it. All right, so now just wrap around I can't get this camera's too low. Maybe that'll help you if I can move it up just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to wrap it around it 10 times. So you can hold it and wrap it, however direction you feel like you want to do. But wrap it around 10 times. Okay, so let's put that one over to the side because I've already gotten this one done. Easier to do off camera. So I've wrapped around it 10 times, and there is my yarn that I stuck in both ends. Okay, I'm going to pull that yarn up out of the little slits, and I'm going to tie a knot. Just like so. Just like so. Now, I'm going to take it off, and it bends and slides off really easily. All right, and now get my 2 long ends again. Okay, and I'm going to have them, and I'm going to pull it down like so. So here's what I tied on. And now all I'm going to do is, now that I've tied that in a knot, I'm going to go down, about 1/4 inch, thereabouts. And I am going to wrap it around it tightly. Okay, just like so. Leave enough to go from one side, split that, go from one side to the next, and tie a knot. Now when I get ready to sew it on, there you go, tie a knot, tie a knot. Okay, now when I get ready to sew it on, I will use the threads. Where's my one that I had? Of course it ran off. Get back over here. I'm going to take the one that I had at the end when I was gathering everything up, and I will use that one to run my needle through that center and sew that onto the end of my ball. But all I have to do is to now, since I've got it all done, everybody move out of the way. There, guys. This is just too simple, and I'm just going to cut it like so. And now there is my basic tassel. I'm going to get my plate over here so it can all go in there. And then I'm just going to, because I'm not going to use that to tie, and I'm going to just cut it off the length I want it to make it even. So if you want it that long, if you want it as long as this one is, you leave it, and when you get ready to sew it on, run your needle, run your needle through the center with these threads on, which I'll show in a minute, and there it is. Many times I do take some white glue and just put it on one dab on my knot back there. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's not like somebody's going to be playing with it, but there's your small tassel. Very easy. So here we are with one of the Christmas balls that I have made. I've taken a tapestry needle, a metal tapestry needle. You can use whatever needle you feel the best with, but I just like the metal tapestry needle. There, if you can see it on the video, there's where the tie-off is that I actually tied, and I'm just going to run that through the loop. Now this is the cord I'm using, is what I cinched off when I actually made the ornament. And now I'm just going to go back in, just like so, and pull that up. Okay, now that I've pulled some up, I'm going to go back through, kind of pull it again, pick up some of my Christmas tree ball, like so. Then I'm going to go back through. And really, you don't have to go through as much as I'm going through if you don't want to. I'm just doing it more to kind of show you how I do it. All right, and now that should be good enough. Now, the reason why I use a tapestry needle is because when I finish with all this, I go right down through the end of the tapestry needle and pull it all the way through like that. Pull it out through the bottom of my tassel, like so. And I clip it off. Okay, so that gave me another 3 things in my tassel. All right, that I need to glue. I didn't cut it off or do anything with that. So what I'm going to do is just take a toothpick, and I have some white glue sitting over here. And when I say white glue, it's just white glue. And I'm going to put a dab right on that, just like that. That just kind of holds my knot. All right, like so. All right. So now, if you don't like those sticking out, which you could run them back through, but we really don't need to. And I'm just going to cut that one. That one seems to be staying down pretty good, so I'm going to leave it like it is. All right. So there you go. You have your tassel on the end of your ornament. And again, you can do it however way you want it. If you want to push that up a little bit, if you think, oh, I don't like it down so far, push it up a little bit. But again, this is yours. Make the tassel the length that you want, and there you go. You have a tassel, and you have your beautiful ball ready to go on the Christmas tree.